On this inside line, I'm taking my Jeep Gladiator on an adventure and visiting a place in eastern Tennessee I've been wanting to see for quite some time, and that is the Nemo Tunnel. This place is super cool, so let's get right to it. Now, I was already in eastern Tennessee doing some wheeling at the Windrock Off-Road Park. So this put me about 30 minutes outside of the destination. If you are in Windrock, I definitely say it's worth taking the time driving over and doing this. Now, if you're confused on how to get there, thankfully you can actually type in Nemo Tunnel on Google Maps and it will take you right to it. Now, I took Highway 62 from the park, which got me to Catoosie Road, and Catoosie Road is going to be where you'll ultimately find the dirt road that will lead you to the trail. Now, you are actually going to see two ways you can go off of Catoosie. You're going to want to go from my direction to the left, and that is going to be the start of the trail. Now, this is going to be, if you take a left, you're going to look out your window and the water, the river is actually going to be on your right, so that's how you know you went the correct way. Either way, it's a loop, so if you accidentally take right, you can still find yourself at the tunnel. Not a big deal. Now, from what I understand, this portion, or at least some of the surrounding parts leading up to the tunnel, are actually private property. The landowner, from what I understand, has allowed access to the tunnel, and hopefully this will remain the case for the future. At this point, you don't necessarily need four-wheel drive, but I will tell you there are a lot of deep puddles, at least there were on this day, and a good assortment of mud. I think you can easily navigate this in a stock, pickup truck or SUV. I don't recommend going back here in a Subaru for no other reason than there's a lot of standing water that's fairly deep. And I just wouldn't be comfortable taking a stock Outback through that. So, proceed cautiously. My Gladiator is on 40-inch tall Nitto trail grapplers. For the majority of it, I didn't even put the Jeep into four-wheel drive except for a few places. So, take that for what you will. Now, you're going to stay on this, let's say gravel road or little adventure road. It's not very difficult for a little bit of time, and then you're going to get to a fairly wide opening, and you'll see just off to your left a slight road, and you can just make out the tunnel. This is Old Tunnel 24, or as most people will call it, the Nemo Tunnel. Now, from my research just online, which is, I thought there'd be more information about this, what I've learned is that this tunnel was originally bored in 1878 for railway use. Now, after a flood in the 1940s, the tracks were pulled up from the tunnel, and I'll tell you, it is super massive, and I get that they could put trains in here. It's about 15 feet wide and 20 foot tall. Definitely makes your vehicle feel pretty small, but surprisingly what I learned is that's actually too small for modern rail cars today, so it was kind of getting outdated in general. Now, when I visited there was a lot of standing water immediately as you hit the tunnel. Some of it was coming up to my hubs. I would say the deepest part was maybe 2 feet. So that's where I say you really have to be cautious about navigating back here with something that's not very tall. From what I understand, if they get a hard rain, it could be impassable. So be sure to really watch the weather for that. There are quite a few higher places in the tunnel. That, you know, the base of the tunnel is basically like hard gravel. It's a little bumpy, but it's not, you know, difficult. And there are some spots that you can stop and check out the walls and all that stuff and take a picture. Unfortunately, it now has its fair share of graffiti, which is really a sad thing to see. But primarily, I guess this thing sits with a lot of water in it. For the most part, there's not, you know, it's kind of preserved as it was. It's really a neat thing. Now, it does not take long for this thing to go completely black. It's only a half-mile long, so it's not super crazy long, but man, it doesn't take long for it just to be like, okay, well, we've got no light anymore. I'll admit this is one of the few times in my life where I thought a light bar would probably have been a nice addition. I'm running BeamTech H13 LED replacement bulbs in my factory halogen housings. I'll put a link here in the video, so if you're interested in those, you can check them out. These are the 10,000 lumen versions, and they work surprisingly well to light up the tunnel. It would have been nice to have a little bit more candle power, but hey, this is what I had, and I still really enjoyed it for what it was.
Are you listening now? Do I have your attention? Can I get a response to all the questions hanging in my head? Did you think I would follow? Did you think I would kneel? Because I want all the world to know exactly how I feel. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. You can't stop me. Do you know how I feel?
Now, at the exit of the tunnel, you'll be greeted with, of course, more puddles. And once you get past sort of a longer little field there of those puddles, you can either take a hard left or you can continue straight on next to the new railroad tracks. And if you want to go ahead and you've had your fun, you did the tunnel and that's all you want to do, you can take a left and that'll get you back to the road. If you go straight, it's a dead end. I'll go ahead and tell you that now. But it does take you down to the river and let you see some things. So that's where I'm going to take you now. Now, this is a good time to mention that those rail tracks that you're going to see are live tracks, and they actually feed into the new Tunnel 24. And you got to be careful. We actually were, kind of taking our picture next to the tracks and stuff, and obviously we didn't even attempt to drive into the new tunnel. But we went down to a road just to the left of the tracks, and we weren't down there for a minute, and we felt the ground start to shake, and sure enough, we hiked back up and captured this massive train making its way through. It's kind of neat. I guess they have to slow down because there's a bridge a little further up, and they sort of check up for that, and then as it gets through the tunnel, it just starts to build speed. And it was pretty cool to see that. It was definitely good timing. This area to the left of the tracks, it looks like a lot of people use it for camping. It was very clean. I didn't see any trash for the most part. Everything looked really nice. So I thought that was awesome. This is the Emory River, and it looks like a really cool spot to come down and camp. There was a lot of mud and stuff. I imagine during the summertime here, this place is probably full of mosquitoes, but if you keep going alongside the Emory River, you will get down to a bridge, and that's basically the end of the road, as they say. This is as far as you can go. There's like a little turnaround area under the bridge that you can climb up and go down, but that's really it. You know, you can just kind of check it out. You can definitely tell a lot of people have been back there, and again, this goes back to, you don't have to go down this way, and if you do go down this way, I definitely recommend you having a four-wheel drive, because there are a few places that you could definitely get stuck if you're on a, you know, a road tire and didn't have, you know, a little extra traction for that. But now at this point, you have to head all the way back to the exit of the Nemo Tunnel. Now this is where earlier I mentioned that you could take that left to get around the tunnel, or if you just want to go back through the tunnel, you can go that way. Given that I had not done the trail around the tunnel, I wanted to go ahead and explore that, so that's what I did. It's not a super long sort of around the way to go. It's not difficult at all. It's pretty scenic. You're gonna go along the Emory River some more. You got a few climbs, nothing super difficult. Again, on a dry day, you could probably get through here with a two-wheel drive truck and it wouldn't be that difficult. It was a little wet. There's still a lot of standing water. So that's really, you know, something to be aware of. Fun little trail. Nothing about this was incredibly difficult. The biggest thing you need to be aware of is if it rains a lot, there's going to be a lot of standing water, and I don't know at what point does it get where it's just really not passable. It wasn't terrible obviously on the day that we went, but I'm on 40s and you know, I still had water coming up to the hub, so you need to be aware of just how deep you know, that can be for before you head out there. Now you're going to exit literally across from where you entered the trail, directly across from me. You'll see that where I took that left originally. Now from here, if you're heading back to Windrock, just hook a left and you can get on out of there. If you want to go check out the new Nemo Bridge, I believe it's called the Nemo Bridge, you take a right and there's like a little meeting area, and you can go hike and do some of the other stuff. I didn't have as much time. I actually wanted to get back to Windrock and do some more wheeling, so that's what I did, and I'll have a future video on my Windrock adventure coming to the channel soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully it's helpful if you guys are thinking about hitting up the Nemo Tunnel. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the trail soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.